Yeah, alright guys, Mango12 here, and we are back with the Death of Ultimate Spider-Man issue 155. Now we've only got 5 issues till the death of Spider-Man, but he actually starts dying in like issue 157 or 58. But this one's called the Sinister Six, so obviously some sort. Well, oh no, this one isn't called the Sinister Six. Oh, I can't remember. But this is the one where it's Spider-Man's birthday. And now looking at the cover, the Sinister Six is going to include Electro, Green Goblin, Sandman, Doctor Octopus, Vulture, and Kraven the Hunter. By the cover, normally on comics, the cover doesn't really tell anything about what happens in the story. I mean, these villains, they're not even in this comic. I think they're in the next comic, if I remember. But so let's just get onto the first page. And you get a massive fat guy screaming at you. Here Peter is like gone to his new job because he's been fired from the Daily Bugle. So he's working at like a fast food restaurant thing, and his boss is firing him, and he's only been he's on the first day of the second hour, and he's already been fired. So he's only been working there 2 hours, and he's fired already. And it's because that he hasn't turned up. Yeah, he hasn't showed up for 2 days. His boss is like, "What were you doing that was so much more important than coming to work?" He has now been fired, and he's spitting on Peter because Peter's like cringing and like turning away. And Pete's trying to like explain himself, but his boss just like won't have it. Peter's just like, "Hello, how about I was saving the world as Spider-Man?" And yes, he did team up with Iron Man and actually save the world. Peter's just saying that he'd love to tell his boss just to stick his stupid loser job. He actually wanted this job, but he's blooming messed up, so he can't get it anymore. So then his phone starts ringing, and this actually shocked me because I didn't know this. J. Jonah Jameson calls Peter and asks him if he'll come to the Daily Bugle to just have a talk. So Pete slips on his Spidey costume and swings over to, well, is going to swing over to the Daily Bugle. So Pete's just sort of like having a debate with himself about. It's a bit like Deadpool, where he talks to like the two sides of his brain. So it's like, so he's just saying how he tricks himself into thinking that everything will go away, but then it doesn't, and that's how immature he is. He says that he just ends up holding his breath and hoping for the best, and is like debating why J. Jonah Jameson actually wants to talk to him, because this is what surprised me. J. Jonah Jameson knows that Peter Parker is Spider-Man, and Pete's just saying how does he go about his day when he knows that Jameson knows that he's Spider-Man. So, and Pete's actually shocked that he hasn't like outed him to the world. And also the press has actually been on daily pro Spider-Man cheerleading routines, which is the opposite of what they used to do. So now he's saying that he used to pray to Thor. You do get it because Thor's like a god, so really he's saying I used to pray to God for this guy to figure out that he's not the devil and to crawl out of his nose, but now that he has, he finds it kind of creepy. And now now Jameson just calls Pete out of the blue and asks to see him. So Pete's just saying that half of him thinks that no matter what he says, it can't be any worse. And most of the time when he thinks that it can't get any worse, it becomes fantastically worse, like always. So Pete's just like swinging up to the Daily Bugle, and you can see like a shot of it there. And he's also like debating like how he could use his powers to make money and stuff like that, but yeah, because he needs to pay for college. So anyways, we're in the Daily Bugle now, and Pete's just saying how he forgot how much he used to love working here. And then it zooms out, and it's like a complete packed with people and papers everywhere. And then this guy called Yurik walks up to him, and he says, "Did you get a haircut?" And then as Peter starts saying, he just sort of goes, "Yeah, good seeing you," and walks off. You know, like one of them rich people that don't have time for anybody. So Jameson's just called Pete in. And so you're probably wondering why I've called you here, and yeah, Jameson wants Pete to have a guess at like why he thinks he's called him here, and Pete's just like, why? Jameson says that he wants to see what kind of person Pete thinks that Jameson is. Pete says, "You are a very complicated person," and then Jameson's like, "That's a very good answer." Jameson thinks that Pete and him have shared a life experience together. Jameson should be dead because I can't remember what he did. I forgot, but he says that 3 centimeters to the left, and it would have absolutely killed him. Jameson thinks that they've got something between us, and he says that he's lived his entire life in the centre of the city. He's met drug dealers and kings and everything, but he's never met a person like Peter Parker, and especially because he is Spider-Man. He says that, in case you've not noticed, if I was going to rent you out, if I was going to out you, then I would have done it already, so he's not going to do that. He says that he had a really long thought about it, and he says that it may bring more people to my website and sell more papers and all this, but he had a long hard think about it, and he did some soul searching, and he says that he'd rather chop his own hand off. So he says that he feels that it's not enough, so he says that he's going to do something for him. He says that Jameson is his genie bottle. He's genie in a bottle. So Pete asks for anything he wants, and he asks for his job back, and Jameson's like, "What, for $2 an hour?" And he's like, "Yeah, it would be great actually." And then so Jameson says, "Why are you going to college?" "Because I want to." And Jameson says, "No, why are you, Spider-Man, going to college? Why don't you just use your powers to make money?" And he says, "Because I don't want to. Like, I just want to be a normal boy." So Jameson says that he'll pay for his college when Pete wasn't even hinting at that. And Jameson says that he's a very rich man and that he wouldn't even notice that it was happening because he's so rich. And Pete wants to, you know what Pete's like, he always wants to make his own way through the world, so like, he wants to pay it himself. And if you read it, Jameson says, "I know I just said this 2 minutes ago, but I have never ever met anyone like you before in my entire life." Crazy uncomfortable talking about his Spider-Man and his college and all that out loud. Jameson gives Pete his job back, and he gives him a bump in his pay, so that he has a higher pay rise, and he says that he'll pay for a scholarship for him. And Pete's just like, "Oh, I just need my job back," and Jameson's just not having it, so oh yeah, and Pete says, "So what if I get caught up doing something like, you know, Spider-Man, like, because he's being Spider-Man, what if he's late?" And Jameson says, "Oh, you can just come into work anytime you want." And Pete's like, "Oh, I won't take advantage of it, but it's been a thing that," and Jameson's just like, "Oh, whatever, yeah." So Jameson's made a deal with him for him to do whatever he wants, but he wants Pete to give him the story, so like, he wants to give him the villains he just fought and stuff like this, so that his newspaper will be able to get all the Spider-Man exclusives. So he says that he'll quote him warmly and accurately. So instead of calling him a menace, he'll call him a hero, which I highly doubt. Jameson says, "I'm doing you a favour and you're doing me a favour." So they shake hands. That's it, Pete's got his job back. So Jameson kicks him out, and then you get these random thugs on skates blowing up buildings and crap, and then they're going through the crowd, and someone in a hood called Kitty Pryde from the X-Men stop them from like skating away and stuff. And Kitty Pryde is a mutant, obviously, because she's from the X-Men. And then Spider-Man joins in, and then he comes out with another one of those quips. "Hey, is this the line for 'I wanted to be a loser who gets punched in the face'?" And then he goes, "Ba-dump dump." So Spider-Man knows it's Kitty, obviously, because they sort of go to school together and stuff. So we're friends, and then they're walking home together, and they're back in Queens, so they're walking back home after this fight. Pete's trying to reassure her, and Kitty's just like not having it. She's just like, I'm a mutant in a mutant hating world, and everybody hates mutants and nobody likes them. She's such a goth cliche. Kitty says that it's always good because there's always people in the world that need a good beating, so she can take her anger out on them instead of taking it out on her friends and stuff. And Pete says that it's good that she hasn't gone bad. And then she's like, bad? And he's like, no, evil. Evil? You know. And all this. And then Pete finds out that she's broken up with her boyfriend because when she told her boyfriend that she was a mutant, he ran back to their mum and dad, and then they moved to Wisconsin. So Pete's like, you broke up? So now they're going into Pete's house, and remember, it is Peter's birthday. So, surprise! Happy 16th birthday. To think about it, he's 50 years old this year, by the way. So, old Spider-Man. Anyway, so like most of his friends are here. So there's Bobby, Iceman. No, there's Bobby, Johnny Storm, Gwen, MJ, whoever that is in the background, Aunt May, some girl, and yeah. So Pete actually forgot that it was his birthday until he walked in then. And Kitty hasn't been around for a while, so that's why I think that's Johnny Storm. That's why Johnny Storm's like, oh, you found her. All these people start like diving onto Pete and start hugging him and everything. And then you just get MJ left at the back in the kitchen. And Pete's trying to tell MJ something, but then MJ pulls out a present and tells Pete that it's from Tony Stark. And MJ says that Aunt May actually had the temerity to call a billionaire industrialist superhero and invite him to your birthday party. But he just sent a present instead. So when he opens it, it's his new web shooter. Like, Tony Stark has reinvented his web shooters to make them better, like redesign them and stuff. And then he's just like having a look at them and stuff. And as MJ is about to say something, Pete just comes out saying, I love you. So this is obviously a very romantic time for Peter. And MJ's just like speechless. And Pete says that he wants to earn her back and stuff. And she says that she's got him back, and then dun dun dun. So another romantic time for Peter. And then she says happy birthday. And then he says, what's with the tiger? And she's like, I like saying tiger. So then they kiss again. And then next issue is the death of Spider-Man. It might be issue 156. Actually, the next issue is the death of Spider-Man. So this is the next issue, Death of Spider-Man, where he's in the air. Thanks for watching, guys. Remember to rate, comment and subscribe. And for this issue, I'd give it probably a 9 out of 10, because it's like where Peter gets his job back and he gets Mary Jane back and all this, and basically Peter's life is going well right now. So, and the art style is just as good. They did use a different art style this time. I don't know whether you noticed. Like compared from the last comics, this comic had just a slight difference in art styles. But other than that, it was great. So 9 out of 10. And thanks for watching, guys. Remember to rate, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you later. And look out for the next issue.